The movie opens with Ava and Mitch celebrating their wedding, the most important day of their lives. However, this happiness is interrupted by a recorded call from Ava, who sounds terrified for her life due to the massive deployment of US bomb blasts. Near the Tasmanian coast, an event that reportedly killed around 500,000 people occurred. Following this catastrophe, Ava boards a plane to search for her husband in Tasmania. Ava Newman sits tensely on a flight to Devonport. Hearing about countless victims being brain dead fills her with dread, especially since her missing husband Mitch was there. News reports explain that a powerful shockwave damages the nervous systems of people, causing countless deaths. The other passengers on the flight are also filled with hope, believing that their loved ones are still alive. An old woman is sitting next to her on the plane. She says her son was there as well, but she has full faith that he is okay. Stepping off into the chaos, Ava joins the volunteer registration line, guided by stern military officers. At the desk, she requests assignment to the body retrieval unit in the south, but the officer shakes her head, saying, "No one's heading south yet. The whole city is still burning." Noticing Ava's hollow, hopeless expression, the officer gently asks, "Who is down there?" Guilt flickers across her face as Ava whispers, "My husband." The officer offers a compassionate apology, saying, "That's just how it is." Ava insists that, as a physical therapist, she can be of real help. Still, the officer reiterates that while she is there, she must stick to victim identification and body retrieval, or head home. Another officer's voice breaks through the crowd. "The reports are true. Some victims are brain dead. If you see any signs of activity, please stand back. The military will take care of it." He also mentions that the victims move slowly. Paralyzed by anxiety, Ava boards a bus with her unit. While traveling on a bus, a man questions a soldier about whether the dead are truly alive, but the soldier dismisses the concern, assuring him that everything will be fine. One of her teammates, afraid of the military officer on board, asks how many of the undead will return. "0, the officer replies. Arriving at their assigned location, Ava and her teammate approach a house that had once been home to a beautiful family, but now stands as abandoned as the rest of the island. She finds a body in the backyard. With the help of her teammate, she carries the body to the area where the others are being identified. The teammate who had been with her seems disturbed, so she leaves Ava there alone. Ava sits on the sidewalk. Suddenly, a teammate runs out of the house, vomiting. Clay steps out of the shadows. Ava moves to assist him. She asks if he smells anything unusual. He isn't wearing a mask like everyone else, which Ava finds slightly strange. She suddenly notices the woman she had been sitting next to on the plane. The woman has found her son's body and is crying uncontrollably. They enter a garage where Ava encounters an undead person. The man looks frightening, but to her, he seems scared. Following protocol, she notifies her partner. Clay signals the military, and they arrive as Ava backs away from the garage. As she walks away, she can't help wondering if she made the right decision when she suddenly hears gunshots in the background. She recalls how, after marriage, she tried many times to have a baby but couldn't get pregnant. Ava sits in her dark room. The air smells of old paper as she studies a detailed map of Tasmania. Suddenly, she hears strange sounds coming from downstairs. Curious, she puts down the map and decides to check what's happening. She moves downstairs, but by then, the noises have faded. As she desperately darts through the dimly lit corridor, her heart races with fear. Just as she thinks she's found a way out, a stern officer emerges from the shadows. She swiftly reaches out, stopping Ava from escaping. The officer tells Ava to go blow off some steam with the others, and so Ava does. While others are partying and enjoying themselves, Ava sees Clay at the dimly lit pub. Taking a deep breath, she walks over to him. She sits across from him with a friendly smile, hoping to close the gap that has grown between them. Clay pours her a drink and asks what's special about Hobart. Ava explains that she is searching for her husband, who was at a work retreat in a coastal town called Woodbridge. Finally, she shares what has been on her mind all day since their visit to the garage. The man in the garage didn't seem completely gone. A part of him felt present, lost, and scared. Clay firmly believes that they are all dead. Ava insists the woman in the garage still had some humanity left. That night, Ava dreams of searching for Mitch and sees him attacking her in his undead form, which causes her to wake up in fear. Ava and Clay venture into another garage, a dark, hollow space filled with dirt bikes. However, the scene takes a darker turn when they discover several lifeless bodies and some undead. Ava notices Clay's enthusiasm for the bikes and asks if he's an experienced rider. He tells her that he is. She suggests that he join her on a trip south. She explains that she needs to search for her husband and that having someone by her side would make the journey much easier. He agrees. Just as they are about to leave, Ava hears a rustling noise. She goes to check and finds an undead woman, but she doesn't attack her. Clay rushes over and urges her to leave before it's too late. The undead woman grows more unsettling, and the two of them quietly sneak out of their unit's area. When they finally reach a desolate stretch of highway, they accelerate down the open road. Ava squints against the harsh sunlight as a military jeep rumbles toward them along the dusty road. Sensing the danger, Clay swiftly brings the bike to a halt. Ava jumps off, her heart racing as she glances back at the approaching vehicle. Clay grips the bike firmly and drags it behind a barrier. The jeep comes to a stop nearby. Ava's gaze falls on a grotesque figure rising from the fields. It's an undead man, slowly approaching them. Ava and Clay try not to react, though fear grips them. Suddenly, a bullet pierces the undead's forehead, and he collapses lifelessly to the ground. They both breathe in relief. The two of them hop back on the bike and continue toward their destination. In the distance, they can see the island still burning. After traveling farther, they decide to take a break. They find some food and a place to spend the night. In the morning, Ava helps Clay with the pain in his shoulders. Clay asks why her husband was there. She explains that his job requires him to travel to different places, and this year it was Tasmania. She then notices a tattoo on his arm of a woman and a child. She asks if he has lost someone too, but he ignores the question. An undead figure emerges, dragging a deformed foot behind him. His hollow eyes gleam with a sinister hunger. In a desperate attempt to survive, Ava and Clay scramble to grab anything within reach, but he keeps advancing. Just as the tension peaks, Officer Riley bursts through the door and shoots him. Riley demands to know what the two of them are doing there. Since the area is restricted, Ava quickly explains that they are part of the body retrieval unit and that she is looking for her husband. Riley asks Clay what he is doing there, and he replies that he's helping her get there. Riley asks where they're headed, and Ava says Woodbridge. Clay adds that it wasn't easy. They had to find their way through the smoke. It nearly cost them their lungs. Officer Riley takes Ava and Clay with him to record their statements. He tells Ava to wait while he interrogates Clay, then locks her in the bathroom. While she waits, Ava reminisces about her husband. She remembers how they slowly grew distant after being unable to have a child. Hours later, Officer Riley returns and informs her that Clay has escaped. He offers to help Ava reach Woodbridge, but warns her that if she tries to run, he cannot guarantee her safety. Ava agrees to his offer. They arrive at the Bluebird Bed and Breakfast and decide to stay the night since it's already dark and they need food. Riley says that an elderly farmer and his wife manage the place. He recalls that it was stocked with canned goods when he was deployed there. Ava finds him somewhat suspicious. She notices a framed photo of Riley with a woman. Seeing her looking, he tells her it's his wife. He says they were expecting their first child in just a few weeks. With tears in his eyes, he explains that she had been visiting her parents in Queenstown. Riley came after hearing the town had become radioactive. He found his wife, Katie, and her family gathered around the breakfast table, the toast rack still untouched. Later, he buried them beneath a beautiful tree in the backyard, the very tree that still holds Katie's childhood swing. Before leaving, Riley asks Ava for a favor. He asks if she could dress up as Katie for one last chance to dance with her. Ava agrees and dresses as Katie, wearing her dress, shoes, jewelry, and even her perfume. She takes out Katie's ring but cannot bring herself to remove her own wedding ring, so she puts Katie's ring back. She then searches through the drawers and finds a pair of scissors. She hides them under her pillow. She calls out to him. Riley enters and she says, "Just one dance." Riley puts on the headphones and walks toward her. They begin to dance. As the music plays, Ava imagines her husband. Meanwhile, Riley lowers his head and says he's sorry he couldn't protect them. Then he notices she isn't wearing the ring. He tells her to put it on, but Ava refuses. She doesn't want to. She reminds him that he asked for one dance, and they've had it. Now he should take her to her husband. Riley apologizes and asks again, but Ava still refuses to wear the ring. Anger flashes across his face as he approaches her with it. Realizing he's unstable, Ava hits him and runs. She finds another bedroom and locks herself inside. There, she sees pregnant Katie lying in bed. Riley pounds on the door, shouting that the ones who come back are those with unfinished business. He says she will be a great mother. Terrified, Ava escapes through the window and jumps from the roof. She finds Riley's Jeep but doesn't have the keys, so she sneaks back inside to find them. Riley, coming down the stairs, spots her and gives chase. Ava runs again. She locks herself in the garage only to discover several undead bodies tied up inside. They look horrifying. She realizes Riley has captured them and has been monitoring their transformation. Knowing she has little chance of escaping by force, Ava walks toward Riley. She removes her own wedding ring and pretends to be Katie, just as he wanted. He steps forward and hugs her, but Riley senses her deception and suddenly tries to choke her. Ava stabs him, breaking free. She grabs the keys, runs to the Jeep, and starts the engine. As she drives off, she sees a vision of Katie standing there, staring at her, one hand resting on her pregnant belly. Ava reverses and speeds away. She remembers the night before her husband left, how she tried to stop him and talk, but he wouldn't listen. Sunlight hits her face through the Jeep's windshield, and she opens her eyes. Later, she scrambles into an abandoned bus through a broken window as an undead man chases her closely. With no way out, she grabs a piece of broken metal and smashes it into his head. He dies, still gasping for breath. Ava leaves and finds an RV, deciding to spend the night inside. While sleeping, she hears a noise and gets up to investigate. She finds an elderly undead man digging up a grave for his dead wife. He looks exhausted, yet harmless. After laying his wife to rest, Ava helps him complete the task. He kneels beside the grave, gazing at Ava as if silently asking for one final favor. He asks her to end his life, and with a heavy heart, she does. He falls beside his love. Ava finally reaches the Enso Resort, where Mitch had been staying. She searches for him and finds a closed door with a sign on it. She has finally found him. Inside the bathroom, she notices the body of a young woman. Quietly, she says the girl is pretty. She asks Mitch every question she has kept inside all these days, but there is no answer. Ava breaks down in tears. A distant voice calls her name. For a moment, she thinks it's Mitch, but it's Clay. Relieved, Ava realizes she still has a friend in this chaos. She tells him how she and Mitch had argued before he came here. They couldn't get pregnant, so she wanted to try IVF, but Mitch refused. Things got worse, and she ended up cheating on him. She thought she could fix everything by talking to him. That didn't happen, but somehow, confessing makes her feel lighter. Clay shares his story too. His wife and daughter Hannah wanted nothing to do with him. He came here hoping they might see him differently, but they never did. They swim in the resort's pool when another undead man attacks Ava. She stabs him repeatedly. The next morning, Ava places her wedding ring in Mitch's room. She prepares his body and takes it with her. The two of them head back toward their unit. Suddenly, Katie stands in front of their vehicle. Ava immediately gets out of the car while Clay tries to stop her. Katie turns her back to them. Her belly is no longer swollen. Ava realizes Katie has given birth. She hears a baby crying and runs toward the sound. Ava finds the baby and gently picks him up. She holds him close and he stops crying. He is beautiful. Ava takes the child with her, and the movie ends here. For more movie recaps, subscribe to the channel. If you liked this video, you may also enjoy our other recaps.